Many celebrities out here are seen to be humble and sweet in their social media accounts. But is that the case when it comes to real-life situations? You might think it's strange that others were warning us about James Franco, but his contacts with intimate friends and family reveal that this isn't a random act. He's been doing that for quite some time. Phillips. Franco, for example, received criticism in Busy Phillips' 2014 memoir, "This Will Only Hurt a Little," from his former Freaks and Geeks co-star. She claims Franco assaulted her on set as part of the screenplay, describing him as an effing bully. Franco should be smacked across the breast, she was told. According to her, he then exploded and attacked her. He screamed, "Don't touch me," as he grabbed both of my arms. Phillips was the author of the text. After knocking me out, he flung me to the ground flat on my back. Another heinous tendency in Hollywood is men's protectiveness of women, as James Franco exhibited in Freaks and Geeks early in his career. Imagine what he did after that if he had done it so quickly. You don't have to imagine anything because others have expressed their dissatisfaction with him. Some people have spoken out about how James Franco's situation is progressing. Sarita, the Kaplan, discussed James' actions. This was something he did a few years ago. Fast forward a few years in Franco's career to 2018, when he won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Motion Picture for his part in The Disaster Artist, which was surely a memorable night for him. Sarah Taylor Kaplan. This was not the case, however, for those who had been abused by him. "It was a slap in the face," said Sarah Taylor Kaplan, a former acting student at Franco's film school who went on to star in many of his films. She then said that it was horrific, and he didn't really deserve the position. It was later discovered that he had abused a lot more women than said. In interviews with the New York Times, 5 women accused Franco, 39 of inappropriate or slightly exploitative behavior with his students, with none claiming he was her mentor. It was right to deny such a person to be your mentor. "It makes no difference to me. I'm becoming increasingly disgusted." In some circumstances, some of the students would avoid his advances, but they were answered back with threats. While some saw the opportunity as a key to opening job doors in the outside world away from books, they stated they obeyed Franco's orders despite their discomfort because they thought Franco could help them succeed in their careers. What would you say to him right now if he was watching? Some of the students stated that they were all in for a different James Franco than the one they came across. One of the students said that all she wanted was for him to change. These women went on to explain the numerous things he required them to do at his acting courses, including disrobing and acting out specific scenarios, for which he became irritated when some of the women refused to get naked to act with him. It's easy to see why they'd reject that number. Franco vehemently denied everything, claiming that it was just gossip. He then went on to express regret for whatever harm he may have caused. Franco, on the other hand, not only experienced no significant events, but would later try to refute the reports during an interview with Stephen Colbert. "Look, I've always taken pride in taking responsibility for my actions," he gave Colbert a briefing. "That is something I need to do in order to stay healthy. Things I've heard on Twitter aren't accurate, but I wholeheartedly support people taking any steps to disable them." He went on to say that if he made a mistake, he would quickly correct it. And he had an odd response, not least because he was dismissing the allegations while simultaneously praising them for coming forward and suggesting that others in the Hollywood community needed to speak up against abusers. So he declared that he had done nothing wrong in one paragraph and made himself look more acceptable by applauding them for speaking out. He said there was nothing wrong with them coming out and saying whatever they said. "To begin, I'd like to introduce myself. Because I believe in the cause, I put forth the effort. I was ecstatic to win, but being in that room later that night was much better. It was, after all, a Hollywood production." Hillary. Hillary is another individual who has mentioned James Franco. He gave out another report on his terrible teaching. She initially thought he was a decent guy who was genuinely trying to help them. Following that, she was cast in one of Franco's art films, alongside a small number of other female students, which changed her feelings. They were not ready for what they were in for. Much of the things came as a shock to them. They take on all of the roles that have become vacant as a result of their departure. That is something about which I am convinced. That is exactly what I'm looking for. Natalie Schmiel. The other student, Natalie Schmiel, said that she was promised the footage would be used in a 7 for All Mankind commercial. Both women described a strip club shot as unprofessional and unpleasant. Franco asked the actresses who were wearing masks and lingerie midway through filming. According to multiple witnesses, Franco allegedly stormed out. "I had the impression that I'd been chosen for something because of my marriage commitment. When I learned this wasn't the case, I knew it wasn't due to my attractive breasts. I don't believe he started teaching with malice, but I believe he did." These are only a few of the stories that have come out of his acting classes, and each one details how Franco failed to keep his commitment to assist them in obtaining parts, particularly if they did not comply with his wishes. This does not even take into account the women that had to deal with him. James Franco's buddies, notably Seth Rogen, were accused of inciting his alleged violent behavior on the second set. James Franco's acquaintances, including Seth Rogen, were accused of supporting his alleged aggressive behavior, including Charlie Neger, actress Charlie Nahai, and James Franco's friends, Franco assaulting her secretary. She'd also said on the episode that when she wanted to resign because of sexual misconduct charges against actor James Franco, the Disaster Artist production team bribed her. This really showed her who James Franco really was. She later said on Instagram that the production tried to persuade her to stay by providing her a leading role. She went on to say that she didn't feel safe working with Franco and that she wanted out of the 2017 film. "I had no idea what I was getting myself into. What was bothering her so much, I'm not sure. She was successful in removing the tweet off the internet. I'm not sure. I'm concerned that I won't be able to represent her. I'm not sure. Accepting responsibility for my mistakes gives me pleasure." James Franco used his position and stature to gaslight them, as many said. One of the women cried and told him it was exactly what she didn't want, and that she didn't feel secure working with the effing sexual predator. But James Franco took none of it. The predatory behavior was downplayed by them, claiming that he had changed since I first heard about him. Seth Rogen. Backing things up is a good idea. The agreement specifics, however, are unknown. Seth Rogen, one of Franco's closest friends, stated that he would not work with him again after being called out. While these claims linger above him, while working on a Hulu show together, some have contested this. It's unknown whether this will lead to more significant reforms, but it's a start and true justice should arrive soon. Folks, that's all there is to it. Consider the celebrities who have attempted to come out in order for justice to take place and support these women. That their efforts don't go to waste and that history doesn't repeat itself again. White men believe that holding Franco and Seth Rogen accountable is not their responsibility. Who is to blame for this then? There will be no unfavorable outcomes. The consequences of these allegations are finally becoming obvious. A lawsuit was filed against Franco by some of the women described earlier in the film, which was settled in February. What do you think will happen now that James Franco and a few women have been exposed as predators? Do you believe he will be shunned by the industry? Or will he be protected like others before him? Do you believe justice will take its course? Or none of these women's cries will be heard? This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Remember to comment and share the video, and leave your comments down below in the comment section. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.